What is up, everyone? And thank you for tuning in to Don't Say the F Word, a pro wrestling and combat sports podcast where we do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. Shouldn't let your friends use it either. Today is Thursday. It is December 15th, and we are coming off of AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming last night. Honestly, really good show. Not too much in the way of anything that wasn't, at least average or above, right? The card for night main event was the AEW Championship and Dynamite Diamond Ring match between Absolute Ricky Starks and the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF Maxwell Jacob Friedman. This would be MJF's first title defense as champion, and everyone was kind of curious as to how this would pan out after Ricky Starks, I guess, star-making promo on Dynamite last week. Ricky, got a lot of attention for that, and there's a big deal for that Ricky Starks promo. And really, already, you're already here, Mark. What's going on already? You called that a Ricky Starks promo? Oh, yeah, Mark. I mean, a lot of people really liked what Ricky had to say, and it was kind of a big thing for him. He went off script and he kind of just said what he felt. Why is your hand on my throat? Okay, listen, people. That promo, sure, Ricky did a good job not following a script. Sure, that was the first time we've seen Ricky, show a lot of passion in a promo in AEW. Sure, yeah, it was fine, but it wasn't MJF. It wasn't an MJF promo. It wasn't delivered by the best heel in the business right now. It was just a Ricky Stark promo. He had some stumbles there, and it really wasn't that great. Mark, the promo was fine. Get out of here. Let me get the show started. You can come back later. All right. Anyway, yeah. So, we were wondering, how that title match would pan out, and it was for two prizes: Dynamite Diamond Ring, which MJF, the only guy to hold that Dynamite Diamond Ring so far in AEW, versus Ricky Starks for that, along with the title being up for grabs. Additionally, on the card, we had the Best of 7 series for the Trios title between the Elite and Death Triangle, which is, I currently have that running again on the TV, watching the replay, just because that match was really good. Like, I'll get more to it, but anyway. There's also Ruby Soho versus Ty Mello, House of Black versus The Factory, and Chris Jericho versus Action Andrade. Mario Andrade? No, that ain't it. So, like I said, right now I'm currently watching the Best of 7 matchup with the Elite versus Death Triangle. Yet again, these guys are never going to put on a bad match. The Elite lost this one. Death Triangle went over. They told a good story over the ankle, telling the story of the ankle throughout the match, with Nick Jackson having the sprain, I guess. And he ends up tapping out to Rey Fenix after they hit him with the hammer. Man, I understand wanting to tell the willingness for them to be heels. I understand that. I'm not against the Death Triangle being heels. I just wish they would use a different weapon. Like, the hammer worked for the times they used it initially, but we could go with something else. Like, the way they implemented it was actually really, really cool. I did like the catching the kick, smack with the hammer right into the ankle lock submission. Worked out great. So now we've changed kind of what this Best of 7 series is, which there's an element of this that I was kind of expecting. So it's going to be their next matchup, which I believe will be next week, is going to be anything goes, no DQ. Should that go the way of the Elite, then there will be another matchup, and that one's going to be Falls Count Anywhere. Then in the event that we get to match number 7, that's going to be a ladder match. I definitely, for sure, out the gate, thought at some point this was going to get to a ladder match. because these guys are going to put on a fantastic ladder match. The Bucks and the Lucha Bros have had ladder matches previously in AEW, and it was top shelf. Very, very good where they did that. So seeing this done as a trios match is going to be great, which leads me to know, or at least suspect, that the Elite's going to win the next two matchups to get us that ladder match. I don't think the Elite will win the ladder match when we get there. I could be wrong. This could just be the ploy to get the title back on the Elite. But I don't think they do it. If I were booking it, I don't think I would put this title on the Elite at this point. I think I would have them lose and then just have Kenny work as another singles run. I guess it all probably kind of depends. Sorry. As to what happens with Kenny's contract. I believe Kenny's contract is up in January next year. So Kenny has like a month left on his contract. They will be able to extend Kenny's contract. They should have that option through October based on the time that he was out with his injuries. So I think, that's probably going to be a determining factor as to kind of how this story goes. I think if Kenny is on his way out the door, which I don't think that's the case. Probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll see a lot of wrestling outlets report that that's the case. That Kenny's contract expiring. Where is he going? Without anything that's really making it seem like he's going somewhere, I'm not going to even give that any attention because I don't think that's the case. I would be surprised if that's the case. But last January, I was surprised that Cody left. So, you never really know. But all in all, I mean, that matchup was really good. I would say that, that was certainly the only thing that takes away from that match is I just wasn't a fan of the hammer running. So I'm going to call it a B+. I could see the argument for an A- grade on that, but I thought it was a very good matchup. I just thought, doing the hammer bit was a little, I don't want to say overdone because they haven't done it a ton of times, but it was enough that it just wasn't something I was a huge fan of, but it wasn't terrible. That got followed with an MJF promo. And that MJF promo is an absolute A+. You're right. That MJF promo was an A+ because he's MJF, Max. He's my friend Max. He's Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's better than you. He's better than you. And you guys all know it. I'm furrier than you, and you know it. And Max is the man. He's going to be the man for years and years and years and years. And hey, stop pushing. Don't push me out of frame. I'm sorry. All right. The MJF promo was good. Talking about, he doesn't have pressure in this and that. The pebble, as he referred to Ricky Starks, is the one under pressure to be able to execute a victory over him. I thought that was very good work. I think Max has an ability to deliver a lengthier promo that doesn't seem to kind of drag on. He hits points, gives more, hits points, gives more, hits points, then hits punchlines, and then it's a wrap. I mean, every one of Max's promos he's teaching a master class of delivering a promo. You're not going to see MJF in 2024 if he decides to go to the Fed, and they're not going to put him in promo class. He's fantastic. It's a stark contrast to go from Kenny Omega ending that trio's opening match with the microphone to have MJF deliver a backstage promo. I do think Max works better in front of the crowd, but that doesn't take away from what he delivers. It's a staggering difference. Kenny Omega with a mic in his hand versus MJF with a mic in his hand. I'm a Kenny Omega fan and have been for a long time. But Kenny doesn't deliver a promo like Max delivers a promo. Even heel Kenny Omega wasn't even close to MJF's promos. You can let me know how you feel about that. I don't know if that's something everyone's going to agree with, but it's 100% like, I don't think that Kenny does a bad promo. It's just to have Max follow a Kenny promo made Max look so much better. As good as Max is, you made him look so much better having him follow Kenny Omega with what was ideally an impromptu thing. Just really, really good matchup. I mean, good promo. Matchup: Brian Cage, Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jungle Boy Jack Perry should not have beaten Brian Cage. Jungle Boy could have afforded that loss, and Brian Cage would have benefited greatly from the victory. Now, I understand that you had to have Jungle Boy look strong here to have him call out Big Bill, which I'm a little disappointed in the AEW fan base and the IWC, if you will, the Internet Wrestling community, to not drag AEW for the Big Bill name change. That's awful. W. Morrissey was a difficult name to get behind, but at least it was authentically the name that he was using. He wasn't calling himself Bill. The W was for William. So you change him to Big Bill. Is this 1984? Is this 1984 Memphis? Are we having, Big Bill versus, Haystack Bob? It's a bad name. And the problem is they put so much emphasis on saying it 19 times on commentary that there's no retroactive action. Now there's no switch up. Oh, we were calling Big Bill just, as a goof. He's stuck with this, and it's garbage. To call a guy who's nearly 7 feet tall Big Bill in 2022 is a lack of creative energy. You can't make him a star now, and he's good. He's a good wrestler. He's good in the ring. People can feel however they want about Enzo, but people can't tell me that the Enzo and Big Cass thing in NXT wasn't entertaining, because it was immensely entertaining. It was really, really good. And hey, Mark. So yeah, I get it. You know that puppets are entertaining, and that's why you liked Enzo, because Enzo is essentially human form of a puppet like me. Okay, he's right. And Enzo was basically a puppet. But I mean that in a positive way. Clearly, I enjoy hanging out with puppets. But yeah, to call W. Morrissey, formerly known as Big Cass, formerly known as W. Morrissey now, to call him Big Bill, the guy's not going to be able to make that a star name. I don't know how what catchphrase do you put with Big Bill to sell a t-shirt? So he's going to have to always be a heel, but you're going to have Stokely Hathaway always do the mic work. So he's not going to be an authentic heel and have any purpose behind him being a heel other than someone else is telling him to do it. It doesn't work. Additionally, the Firm as a faction has failed completely because they don't operate under their mission statement. When they debuted, they said, "We're hired guns." Why are they attacking people who they have been hired to attack? Why are these guys who claim to be hired guns and mercenaries just acting under their own fruition of wanting to beat certain people up because they want to? Doesn't make any sense. But prior to Jungle Boy and Brian Cage, we had the Acclaim come out. Middle of their rap, they got attacked by Jeff Jarrett, and man, Jarrett got a lot of heat. So it's playing again right now. So I'm a little distracted there, because so much when Jarrett showed up in AEW was the idea that Jeff Jarrett was not wanted there. But the heat in the arena that he had, the boos were that he was doing good heel work, not that they didn't want him on TV. So it wasn't a, Dan Lambert or Brandy Rhodes situation where people just didn't want to see him. It's people wanted to boo Jeff Jarrett. Like his heel work there was actually really good. I don't think it's necessary for him to rely on using slap nuts. It is a good throwback to WCW days, but I think you have a good chunk of the current fan base may not be aware of that at all. I don't think AEW has done a great job of introducing Jarrett to a new generation of wrestling fans and giving people a reason why they should dislike him, but they boo him anyway. So to me, that's fantastic heel work, I guess. I don't know. I don't see a world where we put the tag titles on Jeff Jarrett. I don't see that happening. I could be wrong, but hey. But anyway, the close of the Brian Cage Jungle Boy matchup was a little muddled with Prince Anna on the outside of the ring. That kind of took a little long to get to that finish of the roll up, which you kind of had a feeling the roll up victory was what was going to come. Now, I'm not surprised. I mean, that was the way to do it. At least it just be a roll up and a distraction pin. So at least Cage still looked kind of strong in that. You didn't have Lee Moriarty come out and lead the attack with Big Bill. Then to make the save, Hook comes out to make the save for Jungle Boy. So the crowd still pops like crazy for Hook. I mean, you're talking about a guy who I think Hook has had like 7 matches in AEW overall since the big deal of send Hook, and I still think the kid has a lot of talent. And I think that he should be treated as a special attraction. So I don't think we should see him all the time. Hey, Mark, just want to ask everyone: is my hair better than Hook's hair? We both kind of got crazy hair, and I just want to know if mine's better. Okay. We will ask that in a poll, or if you're here, you've been here multiple times. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah, let us know who's got better hair. My boy Mark over here or Hook. I don't know. I kind of think Mark might have some better hair, but regardless, if you're a subscriber, just leave a comment. That's what you think. But anyway, I think Hook should be a special attraction. You want the kid to be special. He can't be on TV every day. We kind of talked about that about world champions shouldn't be wrestling every week. Kind of feel the same way about a guy here trying to treat as something special. But anyway, they had Brian Cage, Jungle Boy match. Above average, a little above average. I mean, Brian Cage is such a great talent for a big guy. So athletic and agile. That very good segment. I mean, C+, B-, but maybe even B, solid B. We then had Jericho Appreciation Society cutting a promo. Jericho talked about, he didn't agree with the fact that he lost and shouldn't. He was very anti-big spin. He talked about Daniel Garcia shouldn't have lost the Pure title. And so he's going to have him be mentored by Sammy Guevara. And then Sammy cut a promo, I guess. I don't know. Sammy doing the big-eyed thing where he cuts his promos to give the idea of intensity doesn't really work for a guy who doesn't come across as intense whenever he cuts a promo. Just doing that, it just doesn't cut it. I really think Sammy needs something else going on for himself to really kind of hammer home. I mean, he just has people who just dislike Sammy. It's not really heel heat to just be straight up disliked, which is sad because the kid's very, very talented in the ring. I just think there needs to be a layer to his character. I think he should really. They should have him turn on Jericho, and the JS as a whole. I think we'll kind of get to that a little bit, but I think they did a Daniel Garcia thing for literally no reason at all. That was a complete waste of weeks of TV to have everything just be as it was. I don't even understand what the thought process was behind this. But anyway, We then had a House of Black versus the Factory. Um, Pretty cool start to that with having Julia Hart spray the mist and just the brawl that ensued to then leave QT alone to eat the faded black kick from Malachi Black. Uh, just that whole thing, just absolute A plus. I mean, just a high point of the show. Uh, I really like the getting back to what made the House of Black fantastic, with a little sprinkled in elements of having an extra person on the outside who the other guys aren't going to beat up because she's like a teenage girl. I don't know if they're going to end up adding anybody to the House of Black. There is some talk of Buddy Murphy's contract being up in the not too distant future and him having an interest of hitting the Indies again and maybe hitting some of the Indies in Australia. If he were to leave the House of Black in AEW, I feel like a third man would have to be popped in. So maybe they bring in a fourth for the time being as, the space holder for whenever Buddy leaves or they kick him out, however they choose to do that. I think there's a lot of good options out there. My vote would be Dark STG. I think. I think Steve Gilkey would be a good fit, especially in the Dark STG character. Could probably modify some things a little bit, but I think great character work. I think it'd be fantastic. But I do like the House of Black. I don't know if they should really be working toward the trios title or not. I get it. There's three of them. It makes sense, but I don't know if I think that that should be the picture. They should kind of be working on some things separately, but looks like we have them in the trios picture right now. I just don't know. I eventually want to see Malachi as AEW World Champion, and then eventually Brody King as AEW World Champion. I did a whole podcast of how I think Brody King should have been booked as a monster while everybody else was away. But I still think there's a lot of opportunity to book Brody as a monster. We then got ourselves a Chris Jericho tune-up match, which he talked about in the promo earlier in the night. Jericho was looking for an easy win to be a space holder until he went and got his Ring of Honor World Title rematch. He faced Action Andretti, and Chris Jericho lost. And they did it in a way that was so good. You had the commentary team out the gate talk about how this isn't going to last very long. Jericho did a lot of toying with him. The kid kept kicking out. Then you had mistakes by Jericho and the kid kind of kicking it up a notch. And it got to a point where he ate the code breaker and kicked out. And then they had him just pin Jericho clean. Apparently Jericho has been working the idea of this match and this upset victory for Action since October, after he's seen him do some dark matches. And he wanted to he's seen a star in the making and looked to make him and put the kid over. And Jericho was irate and backstage, throwing stuff around, acting very current level Jericho-esque. And I think that should be the beginning and the cracks of the foundation of the Jericho Appreciation Society. I think this should be where he starts showing, chips in the armor, where he's kind of falling apart and not handling things appropriately. And I think Sammy should look to be the guy to kind of take charge. So that's why I say I think we should see a change in the character of Sammy Guevara, because I think it should be he becomes the idea of the leader of the JAS while Jericho's falling apart. He's the one pulling people together. He's rallying the troops while Jericho's self-centered and self-focused, which it's the Jericho Appreciation Society, so he's supposed to be. But as far as a team mentality, they should have Sammy being the guy trying to create that and keep things going right. And in that, he should eventually turn on Jericho. Whether you have the JAS turn on Jericho or not doesn't matter to me. They don't have to do it that way. But Sammy should at least turn on Jericho so they can run that feud. I think people want to see that feud. I don't know. Honestly, you can mirror. They could blur it. They could both be neither heel nor babyface. It could just be two guys having a feud. I don't think you could get to a level where you're going to make Sammy Guevara a face again. So I think, to have them both play heel and maybe some sympathy towards Jericho because he's just a shell of his former self. But then Sammy has to go over at the end of the day. They didn't have the Ruby Soho Ty Mello match. Ruby Soho wins. I don't know who it's booked for. But hey, they had the match. Then we got the MJF versus Ricky Starks match. And so this can't be a surprise to anyone. Ricky Starks was not victorious. Spoiler alert. Too late. It was a great match. It was actually a really good match. Good back and forth. Both guys got some good stuff in. A few things were a little clunky, but they pulled it together and made it work. So none of that mattered. The having Max go for the low blow for the victory, I didn't feel like that was necessary for this matchup. I do think you're going to have that during Max's title run. Dirty victories will have to occur. He'll have to cheat to win at times, but those should be against higher caliber competitors. Like, I'm not taking away from Ricky Starks, but no one thought Ricky was going to win anyway. If you have Max defend against Mox, low blow, pinfall victory makes sense. Max and Kenny Omega, low blow, pinfall victory makes sense. Against Ricky Starks, I don't know why anyone thought Max needed to win that way versus Ricky Starks. I just don't. It's not like Ricky Starks is going to be playing around in the main event now for the next 4 years. He's not. Go right back to the mid-card, right back to TNT title or Ring of Honor TV title. Like, he's not. We're not going to keep Max as a main eventer. So why would you have. I'm sorry, I keep Ricky Starks as the main eventer. So why would you have Max go with the low blow to get the pinfall? It doesn't make any sense to me. But that was it. After the match, MJF goes to hightail out of there. Bryan Danielson comes out, chases MJF off. He escapes through the crowd. Great ending to the show. For me, I thought the show as a whole was really good. I think one of the bigger moments of the entire show was something I skipped over from my notes because I wanted to come back to it here. It was Hangman Page's promo. People gave Ricky Starks and MJF a lot of credit for their promo last week, and star-making promo by Ricky Starks. I don't know how many star-making promos Hangman Adam Page has to deliver for people to understand what level star Hangman Adam Page is. But to talk about the concussion and going to the hospital, them asking him what the date was, and he knew it. Who he was wrestling, he knew it. Where he was at, and he knew it. But they look at the lock screen on his phone. It's a picture of his son. And he couldn't remember his son's name. And that was him being in hell. And that if Mox wants to send him back to hell, he's going to drag Mox with him. That adds another layer to the layered up character that is Hangman Adam Page. That is such a superstar in AEW. And I feel like it doesn't resonate with everyone. And it should, because it's immaculate storytelling. It is storytelling at such a high level that I don't know how it could ever be duplicated, because not every wrestler gets this many layers and gets this many opportunities to have so many layers. And if they get it, they don't always capitalize on it like this. Hangman Page's promo and making everything so personal. That was just a freak thing that happened in the ring. But he made it so personal now that this feud between him and Mox, man, it should be career-defining feuds for these guys. This should be the feud that they have for years to come. You can build it up, blow it off, have a climax. You can bring it back. You can keep telling this story. This is a drum you can beat till the end of days, because now all I want to see is Hangman Page get to face Jon Moxley. That's all I'm wanting. Mox can cut his promos, talking about Hangman's head being messed up, and Hangman can lean heavy into that. they can have some really fantastic matches and tell some great stories in the ring just off of that. But that's it for Dynamite. I thought it was a really good show. Overall, I think it's a BB plus show. Like, I only have a few things that I wasn't really keen to, but it's just me. Not taking anything away from the performers, not taking anything away from the show. It was a really, really good show, Dynamite. I want to hit some of the other stories in wrestling this week. We heard that Vince McMahon wants to come back to WWE, but then we got reports that really nobody really wants him back in WWE, and the stock price dropped after the announcement that he was interested in coming back. Here's the thing. If Vince wants to come back, he gets to. I think he has like 80% voting rights for the board. So if he wants to put himself back in charge, he can. Knowing that he can't be outvoted. It's still his company. Him not being in charge of creative is just better. Do I think he has so much of an ego that he put himself back in charge? Maybe. Maybe he does. But I don't think anyone thinks Vince McMahon's a bad businessman. Without him, I wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be watching wrestling in the way that we do anyway. So I don't think we have to worry about Vince coming back to WWE in a creative role capacity and a CEO role capacity. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think you may hear stories like that because it's a good story to tell, I guess. It's a good way to get people to click on your shit. But I don't really see it happening. I don't see Vince coming back. We also have some reports that Triple H is not happy with some of the current talent that he's brought back to WWE. I bet he's not. Like, I don't know. Here's the thing with the talent that he's brought back. He's in charge of this talent getting over. So if they're not in a position to get over, I think his disappointment just has to be that he just wanted to bring back people who he thought he liked, but maybe him and the creative team just didn't really have anything for. I mean, they brought back Karrion Kross and made things look really strong for him out the gate, and the idea he was going after Roman, but then you put him with Drew. And this isn't a knock on Drew McIntyre, but the flame for Drew McIntyre is dim right now. Like, the crowd's just not into the guy. The decision to not put the belt on him, at Clash at the Castle just shows you, like, they're not ready for him to be the guy. So he's just in the mid-card. But then you only have Karrion Kross get those victories with assistance from his wife. So he doesn't even look strong. You didn't book him strong. Braun Strowman, there's been points in time where I've been kind of a big fan of Braun. When Braun was flipping over like ambulances and he was doing all that stuff, like, that was cool. And I'm not finished with you. Those were cool things to have the guy do. And having him wear red skinny jeans isn't the cool thing to have the guy do. Give Braun something else to do. Have him be a menace to people. Have him pick a person to be a menace to. Not just randomly attacking tag teams. It doesn't make sense. Who do you want him to be against? Who's wronged him in the past? Who do you want him to go after? You need to tell those stories. Give him something. Bring back EC3 and have Braun feud with EC3. Yeah, you talk about the control your narrative thing. They could bring that in and intertwine that, even though, like, I'm sure EC3 is not in the best standing, but at least it gives Braun someone to beat up on. He's a monster among men. Give him someone to throttle on a regular basis. You could have him attack Bray. He could have gone after someone small. Made it look like he was just a horrible human being. But I don't know how you get over your monster in red skinny jeans. I just don't know how you do it. I don't know who. I can try to think of who else he brought back, but I just think it's on him to give the guy something to get over with. Like, he can be disappointed, but his disappointment should really be with the lack of creative opportunity created for these guys, because we're trying to keep Roman as champ until Mania. So you can't have anyone else really get into that big time scene and be a big deal. No, But it does look like Roman should be at SmackDown tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, SmackDown is in Chicago. Could we see CM Punk return to WWE in Chicago tomorrow night and face off with Roman? Nope. It's not going to happen. I will bet you that you will see something tomorrow of speculation that could be a possibility. You'll probably get CM Punk chance, but I bet you they mute the crowd when they do it. But I wouldn't be surprised to wake up tomorrow morning and see things of people suspecting CM Punk's return tonight on SmackDown, just to kind of build some hype and get people to click on their story. His contract still exists in AEW, and the buyout hasn't happened. They're not going to come to that agreement anyway. So be weary of things you click on tomorrow that say that kind of stuff. That should be the thumbnail. CM Punk going to be at SmackDown. That should be the thumbnail I have going on with me and Mark. I don't know. But that's it for me today, guys. Thank you for checking out Don't Say the F Word, where we don't use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. Shouldn't let your friends use it either. But what you should have your friends do is check out the podcast. And you can check us out on social media. We are at Don't Say the F Word Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. On YouTube, it is the Don't Say the F Word Podcast. Thank you for checking us out. Please tell your friends who like pro wrestling, like combat sports, check us out. Still working on some more interviews. We have some previous interviews with some wrestlers, some bare knuckle fighting championship, the actually middleweight champion for bare knuckle fighting championship that's available on Fight TV and the BKFC app. We have some more interviews we're looking to line up with some grapplers from Grapple Fest, some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. We have some more bare knuckle guys going to be on, working on down the road. We got some more wrestlers lined up, but we're hoping to get some more interviews. Doing the interviews is very enjoyable. But thank you guys for checking us out. We will be back tomorrow with a preview of WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Thank you guys.